Hello and welcome to another episode of the Mind to Lead and part 2 of the isolation series with myself, Georgie Hubbard, and Anna Richards. Good to have you here again, Anna.
I'm so honoured to be back for round 2. I've been excited for this chat all week. I know we've sent lots of texts about all the good things we want to dive into.
Yeah, exactly. And look, I think last time we only just sort of scratched the surface, didn't we? Like we talked about, what stories people are telling themselves right now, how we're keeping our mindset so positive and in a good place right now. But I think today what we really want to touch on is why now more than ever our habits and routines are so important, and why it could be a good time now to actually establish some different habits and routines, and have like you said it beautifully last time, Anna. You said what this is forcing us to do is shine a light onto our lives and really pull it apart so we can rebuild it. So
yeah, exactly.
Let's kick off. So first things first, Anna, how are you feeling at the moment? How are you going?
I'm still feeling really well. I'm feeling amazing. Interestingly, though, you did just inform me just moments before we went live that the potential is that this really is here for 6 months. But checking in on that, like I am okay. Like I am genuinely okay. And I think it is more than ever that focus with total discipline. But I want to speak to the truth and the like imperfectly being perfect with the discipline of habits and routines. But otherwise I'd probably be, stressed and a mess on the floor for sure. But the fact that I know that I can still control how I feel. I can't control anything. I can't control what the government's doing. I can't control the pandemic. I can't control lockdown. I can't control any of those things, but I can control my mindset. And I think having that empowering thought that is what I can control, it's why I am staying so genuinely and sincerely optimistic and positive at the moment. How are you feeling? I know you're 4 doors up, and I miss you.
I know. Look, I guess of course, like anyone, I have my moments. Like I said last time, there has been some times when, I felt a little bit overwhelmed and fearful and uncertain, and I've experienced all of those things. But I guess, like you just said then, what I do is I take a breath, I close my eyes, I just sit with how I'm feeling, allow myself to feel whatever that is. I honor that feeling, and then I think, okay, what can I do? What can I influence to either, I guess I can accept this, or I can try and change this, or I can focus on what I can control. So again, that's why we're speaking to routines and habits, because I can control how much I exercise. I can control how I show up with my husband. I can control how I speak to my team via Zoom. I can control what I eat right now. There's still lots of things in my life that I can control. And that's why I think waking up the same time, going to bed the same time, getting enough sleep is so important. So you've always had amazing routines. So let's talk about what maybe shifted for you when this all happened, when this all first kicked off, and what you've done to keep sticking to your morning routine. And let's start there.
Yeah, so I have always had, no, not always, but I know in the last 10 years I've definitely had real discipline around my morning routines and how I start my day, control my day, absolutely. And then funnily enough, the self-isolation began. So Morgs and I think it's 3 weeks as of tomorrow. We landed from Perth, and before the government had even sort of started to shut and lock things down, we had chosen to just do the right thing and we self-isolated. And the funniest thing happened, even myself with that discipline and that know-how started to go to bed later the first week and get up later the first week and not choose food in my highest good the first week. And by week 2, I was still feeling good. I was like, it kind of felt like a little bit of a holiday. And I think that's how we all felt. So I want to speak to that. I want to say that we gave ourselves that grace, and you may be still giving yourself that grace period if you're listening. But for myself, I noticed that it started to not make me feel amazing. I didn't feel good staying up late because it started to become a bad habit, because then I'd wake up later the next day and then I already felt out of control of my day. Sort of being more lax with my food. Again, then I started to have lower energy. Everything I was choosing, although is fine and okay, in a pandemic and in self-isolation initially, because again, like, we're all human beings and we're figuring this out as we go. However, I started to realize that I am not these habits, and I wanted to choose better for myself. And so by week 2 I was, and immediately I started to go to set my bedtime routine and have that mindset that even if I can literally not go anywhere. I then was like, okay, I want to still be in bed and asleep by 10 o'clock, which is always my rule. I want to get up still by 5:30. Which we've been doing. And then for me, how I did that, because I know a lot of people will be like, I'm there right now, I'm going to bed. In fact, I see it all everywhere online. People staying up way later than they used to or their usual, and then getting up later and then feeling overwhelmed. That's kind of the word I keep seeing and reading online. I want to be productive and then I feel really overwhelmed. So for me, what I did was I've always moved my body for the last 10 years. So that didn't change. I was still just getting up a little bit later and then working out. But my hubby and I, so Morgs, decided we were going to start running again. We did it like 10 years ago, and I thought, okay, well, that's a really good goal to have. So if I've got that sort of new fun, it's not fun, is it? Running's not fun for anyone. But it was something new. So it was something that I had set in our diary. And it was like, okay, when we get up, we're going to go for that run. And we've been doing that almost 2 weeks now. And it puts me to bed. I'll turn off the TV, I'll shut my book, because I know that when that alarm goes off, I want to get up and go for the run. So for you, if you have kids, which I know we're going to speak to, you might be like, I can't run, or I can't leave the house because I have kids. Okay, well then what is the thing that you can set for yourself? And maybe it is you're going to sit, you can see on this podcast, you won't, but I have my vision board behind me. If you haven't got one of those, create a vision board. Can you sit for 5 minutes when you wake up and look at that? Can you meditate? Can you do an at-home workout with Kyle? But what are the things that you can do in your own world right now that if you are out of whack with routine and habits and that's such a big one, going to bed on time, because you don't have anywhere to be. You can't go to the gym. Most of us aren't going to work. We're all working from home, which again, I know is super tough for people. So what's the thing that you can adapt into your life? Or do you know what I have to say? I would say make it movement. I just think for mental health, movement is so important. So, and we are still legally allowed to leave the house once a day to exercise. So can it be, whilst respecting social distancing, going for a half an hour walk that with the kids? If you've got kids, drag them out. I think nature would do wonders for them. So, for me, I had amazing habits. The isolation begun. I got relaxed on them, and it wasn't serving my highest good. And then I went back to them, and I feel phenomenal for it. So, and how I did that was I set that goal of, okay, we're going to get up and go for a run, and I genuinely look forward to it now, which is crazy, but I really do. How did you? But G, see, I've seen you stay with yours the entire time. Mm-hmm. I was getting up at 7, going on my Instagram once I'd done all my readings and things, and I'd say, 5 a.m. She's a legend. So what is it for you that allowed you to stay from a mindset perspective in your habits? I want to know.
So I think that before this kicked off, people watching this on the video can see behind me, I've got all my boards and I've got my goals and I've got my vision boards, but I just didn't lose sight of it. Like I literally woke up every day and I was like, I kept the main thing as the main thing. Like I thought, well, just because, okay, there are restrictions on what I can do and where I can go right now, doesn't mean that my life is stopping. Doesn't mean that this is it. This is it all finishing right here, right now. So I think that because I got super clear before all this happened, and I set these big goals to launch this podcast, to create an online course, to write a book, like all of these things that I set before this happened, just when this did come, I was like, okay, cool. How am I going to keep on moving forward? And what the story I told myself was, well, how amazing that I have now more time. How amazing that, you know, I now have these extra hours in my day to spend doing this. So this is why I think goals are so crucial in our lives, and setting them, however big, however small. Like, I love the fact that you've said to Morgan, your husband, that we are going to start running again. Now that now you've got a reason and a purpose to get up every day. You know, so I just think, you know, the story I'm telling myself as well at the moment with my whole exercise and fitness regime is like, I'm saying I'm getting into the best shape of my life, both mentally and physically. That is literally the story I'm telling myself every day. I'm meditating for longer. I'm doing more journaling. I'm doing more exercise because I'm out walking more, because I want to be out in nature, because I want that, you know, relaxation time. So I think, the reason why I was able to still stick to it no matter what was happening around me is because for the last 5 years, I feel like I have literally, I've been preparing for something like this. Like, I have read every single self-development, time management, routine, self-awareness book there probably is to read. And I've developed a set of skills. And now in times like this, they are serving me so well. So I just haven't lost sight of the main thing. And you said it so beautifully last week, Annie, said this is a chapter, not your story. And I'm just like, business as usual. I'm keeping moving forward. I am not going to lose sight of those goals. And I'm keeping perspective. Like, this, okay, this might go for 6 to 12, however long, but it's going to come to an end. And I want to look back at this time and go, what person did I become at that point? What did I learn? How did I grow? How did I spend that time? What did I create? I think there's too many people out there, you know, we all do this. We play the victim. We focus on all the negatives. And actually, for those that look, there could be so many positives. Like, you know, how's your relationship with your children? How's your relationship with your husband or your wife? Or, you know, these are the times to maybe rebuild that connection now. So I guess, long story short, the reason why I was so disciplined and kept on track was because I knew what I wanted, and I just kept on taking action every single day, no matter what was going on around me.
And I love that. And I think, just from what you said, you know, to riff a bit more into that, it's that whole ideology. And I know that we're the type of people, like, I can either be, what do I always say? I can either be sympathetic to your reasons or sympathetic to your excuses, but I can't be, or your results. So I can be sympathetic to your results, or I can be sympathetic to your excuses, but I cannot be sympathetic to both. And that's, I feel like, what I'm telling myself at the moment now. I'm like, okay, Anna, I can be sympathetic. I can, you know, choose to be like, oh, look at all the accounts that might enable me at the moment, and tell me that I can drink all the wine and let go and, you know, just give myself grace, because there's a lot out there. Or I can look to the accounts and the people and the books and the, you know, the inspiration that's going to tell me and empower me that I can actually make this the greatest experience and time of my life. And I can create the new story for my life, that, in fact, this allowed us to pause, reassess our life, look at where we were living out of alignment, and actually piece by piece recreate, with time, all the time in the world, like, recreate the life that we actually had been telling ourselves, if only one day I would get there, be that, you know, have that. Well, actually, you know, this is the time to do it. So I think it is. You've just said it, and it's like the piece of, I think this will become the sort of the story of this podcast, but it's telling yourself the new story, and what is the story that you're going to create for yourself. And I think that we can, so people are, just to speak to the habits again, is that there are lots of accounts out there that are telling you, you know, that, and you're either going to want to be enabled in this pandemic or empowered. And if you're wanting, and look at this right now, are you sort of leaning towards and trying to find and comment on and feel good in the accounts that are telling you on Instagram and Facebook and podcasts and things that are like, you know, take the break, just if you do nothing and achieve nothing and let go, that's okay. And that's a cool story if you want it to be yours. There's no judgment with that. Or are you looking for podcasts and books and accounts and, you know, people that are saying, hey, you've got this. You can be and do and have anything that you wish in this, with this extra time and this world upside down. Are you looking to that? And I can tell you fundamentally that that's what I'm doing. So I'm looking to accounts that aren't telling me to, you know, just do nothing and you deserve to do nothing. I absolutely want to take this pandemic essentially by the balls if I can put it frankly, and achieve so much more. And I'm the same. The story I've been telling myself is I am going to come out of this fitter and stronger and healthier and happy and more thriving, and in the process have rediscovered things about myself. And I mean, the relationship that I have with Morgs, who's just downstairs at the moment, is probably hotter and more beautiful than ever. But that's the story that we are telling ourselves. That's the story that Morgan and I chose to go into this, because the joke is kind of like people are going to come out of this divorced or pregnant. couples and what story are you gonna, or neither, just thriving and happy and okay. And and again, I know I said this on last week's podcast, but again, we're so understanding, both of us, if right now you are not there yet and you're actually really financially struggling, or you're struggling really with your mindset, then that's okay. Give yourself grace, but there's so much help out there. Pick up that book or call centre, there's everything that's available to you. I know everyone in Queensland, for us anyway here, was screaming about, the government's about to dish out a lot of money to a lot of people, but it wasn't fast enough. Okay, but then guess what? The state government actually stepped up here in Queensland and said, all right, well, in the interim, we're going to even give you more. So it's all there. The financial assistance is there. The books are all still available. I've got them all, everything's there. It's just now up to you to choose who you want to become and the story you're going to tell yourself through this pandemic. And that's going to come from the habits and the routines that you absolutely keep.
Correct. And I also just want to jump in and say this, that because I read somewhere that people are actually feeling burnt out, because I think when you're not used to working from home and you haven't set those boundaries and you don't have those good habits of knowing when to switch off, then people, what they tend to do is they rush around panicking about how they're going to keep their children entertained all day. And then when the children go to bed, they're jumping on their working, and they just have no concept of when to switch off, when is their time. So more now than ever before, it's so important to also be, having time for you, creating that self-love time, whether it is you wake up 10 minutes earlier and you just sit in silence, or you just take a book for 15-20 minutes to go and read on your own, or you get out in nature. I think that the reason why people are burning out is because they are still almost trying to just go about their normal life and their normal work day. And at the end of the day, we have to adapt. We have to, change and figure out something that's going to work for us, that's going to help to just manage our stress. And that might mean that you work a few hours and then you pause and you go for that walk, or you take longer lunch breaks, or whatever it is. Just make sure that people that you are, if you're listening to this right now, you are doing something every single day to look after your mental health, because I think, yes, I can come on here and say, well, I'm working really hard, I'm getting up at 5 o'clock, but I also am still prioritizing my mental well-being. And when I did have a moment the other day when I just thought, I'm just not quite feeling myself a day, I took a book, I went on my balcony, and I literally spent the afternoon just reading for a couple of hours. But the difference being, instead of just putting on the TV and watching the news or watching Netflix, I took a book that I knew was going to just make me feel amazing because it had such beautiful information in there. And I instantly, after a couple of hours sitting and reading that book with a nice cup of herbal tea, I felt 100 times better, and I felt back to myself again. So in those moments where you do have those 10, 20 minutes to yourself, how are you spending them? And I think that's what we want to say as well, is that it's really important that you cultivate that self-love and you spend that time on you right now. And now more than ever, that balance that everyone's craving and wants in life is it's more important to try and find something like that. So I just wanted to jump in and say that we're not saying that you get super fit and you work on that new business and you do this and you do that. Like, balance is so important right now.
Yeah, harmony. I always say harmony. I would say as well, like, obviously we are in such a unique situation, to speak to that, with, it's not that we're all just now working from home. We are home 24/7. We are isolated at home. But so many people are now working from home that aren't used to working from home. And I think when you're new to this, it can be really hard and really not different, but really hard. It's kind of trying to find that, you've just said it, balance between just being at home, but then we're just doing everything at home at the moment. So if you're also someone from the new to the working from home space, the habits and routines even with that is so you can do little things in your day, kids or no kids, because at the end of the day, if you are working from home, you're still obviously then technically have that essential job. So we're speaking to you guys at the moment as well. Or if you're starting a side hustle, which is amazing, and there's kids and stuff involved, I get that. I know it's a different beast when that is the case. But little things like still setting an alarm, and not just kind of letting the day control you. So setting that alarm is a really big one. Just number one piece of advice. Even though right now you don't technically maybe have to get up because you are working from home. I've worked from home for 7 years and I've still never not set an alarm, just because it's that structure and that routine. Number 2 is get ready and get dressed. So actually get ready for the day. Put on, slap on some makeup if that makes you feel good. I don't wear a lot of makeup often. So that's not always my priority. But if you were actually, a job, corporate professional or teacher, and you were getting up and putting makeup on, do that, because if that can sometimes be the little difference to make you feel really good. Have breaks. So make sure, actually before that, have a space where you work. So I almost never, and I never say never, but I almost never work from the couch, because the couch is my relax time. That is I might read from the couch or relax on the couch. So I work from a table or a desk, or for me it's my office, but you probably won't have a home office yet. So I work from a space, have a set desk space that when you're at that space, you're working. And that can help with kids as well. Because if you're then at that desk or in that space and your kids understand, they're not 18 months, so you can't sort of set the boundaries. But if you can then say to them, hey, when mummy or daddy is at their desk, they're working. That's mummy and daddy's time to work. So I need you to be quiet, or I need you to focus on your schoolwork, which most are still doing, I think, around Australia. And then from there, give yourself breaks. So get up, go for a walk, especially at the moment, because, again, you're not used to working from home maybe, or, again, you started a new side hustle. So you would have had way more breaks than you realise, because you walked to the other side of the office and speak to Joe in accounting, or, you went into the staff room and had a coffee. They're all breaks. When you work from home, you can get sucked into the vortex of just not stopping. So set yourself a 15-minute break every hour and get up, go walk around the house, go outside, have a drink of water. But yeah, little habits and routines like that can literally change your day and make you so much more productive.
Yeah.
Do you have any more?
Yeah, I do all of those things. And I think the one mistake that I made when I started working from home was definitely not sort of getting up and putting on something that's going to make me feel like I'm going to work. Like the habit was just sort of staying in my loungewear all day, or just or whatever. But because I came from that corporate space, for me, just feeling like I'm going to work, that definitely put me in the work mind frame. And obviously just having that space where I go, right now I'm going to work, and just having no distractions away, like no phones, no TV, no sort of noise in the background. If you can do that, amazing. But then the most important thing that I really struggled with when I first started was the switch off, because I am somebody who can be a little bit of a workaholic, and if I'm not careful, the work was being pushed out later and later and later, and then I was realizing that actually was doing a lot of harm to my mental and physical well-being. So now at 5 o'clock on the dot, I do put my laptop away, I switch off, I make myself some dinner, I talk to my husband, we go for a little evening walk with our dog, and that is it. That 5 o'clock, I'm really strict with it. It is my downtime. Of course, there are a few occasions where needs must and things need to get done, but no, 5 o'clock for me is my switch off. That is because, like you just said then, because you work from home, you get more done. You have literally been so productive, for the whole 8 hours or however long you've worked that day with your breaks and stuff. I don't take a full hour for lunch. I normally only take 30 minutes just to eat something, sit on my balcony, have a cup of tea, and I'm straight back into it. So by 5, I'm done. I want to switch off. I want to enjoy my evening. I want to go out and walk with my husband. So have that time when you say, when I hit this time, I'm done. and be really strict with that, because that's where I
I
went
love
wrong
that.
before, and I'd end up working till 8, 9 o'clock. Then it would start impacting my sleep, because I'd obviously be looking at my screen for hours, and this is the bad habit that I got into. So as soon as I said, right, 5 o'clock, I'm done, laptop away, all technology goes away, and then I reconnect with my husband, and we sit down, have beautiful meals together, and that's something that I really found really helped me set those boundaries with technology and work.
Yeah, I love that one. That is so important, actually. And you'll find, people will find, I found, and I'm still not perfect with switching off, is that if you don't, that's where it actually can start to impact your marriage, and it impacts your sleep. And that's where, because it is, and we're so digital and we're so connected, and we always want to be working away that, and as I said, I'm speaking to this from extreme personal experience. That is when the technology and the work gets in between the relationships, which at the end of all of the end of the day, that's what really matters. So I love that habit as well, and that routine of actually having a set time that you will switch off. I think that's awesome.
And one other thing I do as well, just to sort of jump in one more time, is like I don't know if you do this as well, Anna, but I do plan my day the night before. So I do write out my top 3 priorities that have to be done for the next day. And I don't wake up and check my emails or the news. In fact, I haven't checked the news in the last 2 days. I tell myself, if something has happened, I will hear about it. Like, I do not need to be updating my news feed every 5 minutes. Like, it is, that's a quick way to feel overwhelmed, burnt out, and anxious, right? So I refuse to check the news on a daily basis. I don't check my emails until about 9, sometimes 10 o'clock, depending on what I'm doing. The first few hours of the day is for me to wake up, do my meditation, do my morning exercise, then do my important tasks for the morning. So by the time 10 o'clock rolls around, I have achieved a huge amount. Then I'll jump on, do my emails, do what I need to do in those situations. But that I'm really strict with that as well. I think I had a really bad habit once of waking up, checking my emails, looking at the news, looking at social media, and then you're literally just starting your day on everyone else's problems and everyone else's show reel.
Yeah.
And that makes you feel like crap.
Yeah, absolutely. No, so if people want the habit and routine that I do, that's what we're speaking about, because I love that. So I do that. So on a Sunday, I'll set out my entire week, and not everyone can do that necessarily, but having a business from home, that's just how I've done it for 7 years. So on a Sunday, but if you're someone in corporate, your corporate hours right now. So you can still have okay, well, I need to do this big task, eat the frog first. Isn't that I always say that. It's probably wrong.
Yeah, no,
but do the biggest task first. Yeah, so on a Sunday, I'll map out my, Monday to Friday rough but pretty set schedule. And the top end of every single day is my me time. So my exercise, my meditation, my reading, I'll always read, and then just spending time outside. So my breakfast, so fueling my body with nutrients, good, dense nutrients, and then beginning my day. And usually exactly what you've just said, then if I've got a big task or a couple of big tasks, which I usually always do, they are always at the front end of my day, 100%. And so and that's the big thing. It's no matter that we're in isolation, and even if, say you are someone that has lost a job, speaking to that, even that if you're literally in isolation or your job's on hold at the moment, so you literally don't kind of have anything to do right now, you've got so much time to start on a project then that maybe you have wanted to do forever, or do a course. So you can still absolutely plan and map out your day and get some hugely productive things done. Because that's what I keep hearing. People they want to show up in their day still productively, but they're just overwhelmed because it's almost like they don't know where to start because they kind of don't have much to do. But it's like, well, no, you could take that weakness of being laid off or having a job on pause or having more time because you are working from home, and before it was at an office, so you're not doing the 2-hour commute, say, and then applying yourself within those times with doing something that you love. And maybe that is working on your relationship. Put it in a diary. Me time with the wife or the husband, or cooking dinner with the kids. I think, even that these days we were all so busy, and Mother Nature has just and the virus has sent us all to our rooms and said enough. Go back to what matters, and that's what we're being given the opportunity to do. So even if you've got that that time that you didn't have otherwise and it was kind of a negative in your life, what can you turn that in? How can that be a positive? You've got now time. Can you schedule in the day, switch off time with the husband or wife, or cooking dinner with the kids, or, starting the YouTube channel that you always wanted to, or beginning that side hustle or whatever it is, scheduling that in and knowing the night before, setting some tasks that you're going to do that day, even if it's exercise. Know that, because then you'll go do that and then it will make you feel good, and your mental health in this isolation is of utmost importance for sure.
Absolutely. And I just think that whole learning piece, like you just said, then let's talk to that, people losing their jobs, and that's a real thing that's happening right now, just more and more. And I spoke to a girlfriend who lives in the UK at the moment, and I caught up with her the other day, and she's like, I'm learning Spanish. And I was like, amazing. And then I spoke to another friend, and she's like doing this online course that she's always wanted to do. It's like, I think it's like to create like pottery or something really random. And then someone else doing something else, and someone else doing a business. And I was like, see, this is exactly it. Like we are being gifted this time. Like see it as a gift.
Yeah.
Like you're being gifted this time. And what's the biggest thing, the biggest complaint or excuse that I heard when people couldn't start a business or couldn't do this or couldn't do that was time. Well, guess what? We have more of it right now. So again, what you ask for is what you get back. Like if people say, I want more time, well, here you are. And you know what? You can't get time back. You can always make money. You can't make time. So use this time now, this week, until we come live with you again, to just do something for you, to just learn, grow, like develop yourself. Because when you do look back on this in 6 months, 12 months, how long it's going to go on for, you want to be proud. You want to have built your self-love, your self-awareness, started that side hustle, or improved your relationship, your marriage, your relationship with your children, whatever it is. Like, see it as a gift of time that we've been given. And again, it is the story you tell yourself. It's how you approach things. It's the mindset you take to things. That is just something I just really passionate about. But Anna, finally, what message do you want to just send people away with this week? What does the world need to hear right now from Anna that you want to just part with?
I love you, and you're going to get through this. No, yes, I do. I really do. And I think you said it right at the start, and I love it. It's that whole, what's the story you're going to start telling yourself? Choose it this week. What is the story that you are going to tell yourself to come out of this, come through this as a who, as a how? What are you going to have achieved? Are you going to, is your story going to be, I am going to be, healthier, fitter, happier, in thriving relationships? Or is it going to be, I gave up, I'm stressed, and it ended me? That's a story. So what's the story you're going to start to tell yourself? And then tell yourself it. Start to tell yourself it. That's a habit right there, the story that you tell yourself. So that's going to be mine this week. Choose one, and then start to say it in your head, in your journal, aloud, on your run, whatever. But yeah, what's the story you're going to start telling yourself?
So I think action there for this week of homework is to get your journal, get a blank sheet of paper, put it on your phone, like save it as your phone screen, save it as your laptop screen. What story am I telling myself? I'm going to get the healthiest I've ever been. I'm going to improve all of my relationships. I'm going to start that business. I'm going to read that book. I am going to come out of this as the best version of me. That is my story, and that is what is happening. So I love that. So Anna, amazing. I just hope everyone got so much from this. I'm loving doing these episodes. I hope that they're bringing lots of value and positivity. And look, we're all in this together. I'm not sitting here saying that I've got all the answers, nor is Anna. Like, we're just telling you what we're doing, sharing with you what's working for us right now, and hopefully you will get some form of value, inspiration, or whatever you get out of this. I hope it's something. But stay strong, stay healthy, and look forward to chatting to you all again next week.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the Mind to Lead podcast. I really hope you got some great takeaways and key learnings from this episode. To help us spread the message, please give us a rating and leave us a review. We love reading your thoughts and your insights and your learnings. And look, reach out to me. Reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm Georgie Hubbard. Reach out to me on Instagram. I'm Georgie L. Hubbard. Let's connect. I hope you have an incredible day, and I look forward to speaking to you all again soon.